Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Be Healthy and Thrive podcast. My name is Brianna Wilkerson, and I'm a holistic health and life coach, empowering others to be healthy and thrive in all areas of their life. And I'm also the founder of the Healthy and Thriving Women's Members Club, which is a small community, private membership community with the heart and intention to really care for the whole woman and her whole health, right? Because I believe in my story, in my journey, in my health and wellness, as well as in with my clients, health is just not one thing, it is many things. And so that is why I have a community designated towards that. Now, we're here today to talk about a topic that is so emotionally charged for me, probably for you, and probably for most people out there, and that is money. And I titled this podcast, Beautiful Money, Restoring Your Relationship with Money, because we're really going to talk about 5 pillars of financial health, right? That's really kind of what we're going to dive deep into in regards to money. And this podcast is kind of birthed out of this particular episode of me really journeying with restoring my relationship with money. And it is such a very beautiful thing to talk about, but very hard, because let's just face it, when it comes to 2 things in particular, in my life especially, I've had to do a lot of work around restoring my relationship with, and that's food and finances. And I've been kind of on that food journey for a while, and that's even what led me to become a health coach. And then just in regards to helping people find their purpose and, freedom and wholeness in all areas of their life, and me journeying in my financial health, that's where even this comes into be, right? So this is definitely one of the things we address in the members club and wanted to address on this podcast, because I'm just going to start with my story, if that's okay. So I was an accountant for many years before going into coaching. And I was good at accounting. And so it wasn't a matter of, like most people in the Cayman Islands, is because it's one of the top financial industries. It's not like I went into it saying this is going to be a secure job. That was never actually my intention. It was like, I enjoy it. I enjoy the steps. I love being organized in that way. So why not? Because I didn't actually have anything else I wanted to do at the time. And so that worked for me. Now, what I started to see is that as I actually took courses in college, I wasn't really that passionate about it. And I didn't know that it's okay to be passionate about what you do. So anyways, I just kept doing it. And for me, it started when I really started to restore my relationship even with God, because I've been a Christian for many years, but I'd never actually walked in that or understood fully what it meant to have a relationship with God. So I think actually the primary thing that I want to teach people is how to restore their relationship with everything. Because we relate to things. And so for me, understanding that God loved me and wanted me and had a beautiful purpose for my life that only I could fulfill, and that he wanted to do things to me, he wanted to bless me, he wanted to challenge me. It's like it just opened my eyes, and really looking at the person of Jesus and saying, wow, he has a lot to say, and he's been my savior for a long time, but he has not been my Lord. And so going on that, I wanted to immediately, if you know me, when I'm going through something and I find breakthrough and victory, you will know about it. And not so that I will teach you about it, just by sharing in all different facets. And so I wanted to help women in that. And I was involved in a varsity Christian fellowship, a college student ministry at the time. And I started leading a women's group. And I started leading international students, business students, and I became a volunteer staff as I was doing my master's in business, and was just so passionate about people living this abundant life that God had for us. And especially college students at that age, it's such a formative time that you're setting your beliefs, what you're going to believe for the rest of your life, and you're making decisions that will affect the rest of your life. Anyways, met my husband through this ministry. Love him. He's so great. And he actually became a Christian through this ministry and then went to be full-time staff. And so we're both very passionate about seeing young people know God, and then therefore from there changing the world. And so we moved back to the Cayman Islands, and I had to work in my accounting job for at least 3 years because that was part of my scholarship. But I thought I was going to do not-for-profit accounting because I knew like, okay, I have this gifting, but I have this passion to like, how do they work? But I just kind of did public accounting for the time. And my husband worked and starting the ministry here in Cayman. But about halfway through our first year being here, I really was then ready to restore my relationship with food because I just struggled with eating issues just too often and too long. And so it was time to change. And I felt like God saying, it's time. Are you going to journey with me? And so I went on that journey and really did a lot of deep work, healing, and all these things, and knew that I wanted to help others. So I found a health coaching program online, a holistic health coaching program. And as I was going through it, I was like, I'm going to do this. I have to be a coach. There's no other way for me to live. And so I did that. But along with that, I had to make some scary decisions. And as someone who values security and sees money often as a thing of security, to say to myself that I wanted to leave this very secure job to go do something that's kind of insecure, was very scary. And that's when I think my money relationship and the things around money really just started to pop up even more, right? And so I started to ask myself, what's worth more to you, Brianna? Staying in this job and being secure, or walking in your passion and figuring it out along the way? And I said, walking in my passion. And, I did some things that I never thought I would do. I was so risk adverse, but I took a lot of risk. I eventually, I went to my firm and I was saying pretty much like, hey, I think I'm going to do this. Do you have any like regular 9-to-5 jobs? And they did, which at that time I didn't know they did. So, I could have been out of their job. And then I was like, hey, I got to give more time to this. And then I went part-time. And then eventually I was like, I just need to try. And in that first 2 months of being a full-time coach, and I also do doTERRA essential oils, like that's a portion of my overarching business and purpose, I think. I was faced with the reality that for the first time in my life, I could actually dictate how much I make on a normal basis. In the sense, when you're salaried, you can continue to go up in ranks, which means typically more money. But when you have your own job and you have your own business, you can determine how much you charge. You can determine how much you spend on your business and your personal life. Like it just felt for like the first time I was faced with the reality that I have the authority to make these decisions, and I have the responsibility, but I need to make them. I need to make them well. And I need to not bring all kind of junk in my mind around it. So I started just reading a lot of stuff, and money is a topic that I wanted to avoid, which I think is often something we want to avoid. I was telling my husband this morning, actually, when it comes to two main topics in regards to restoring your relationship. One, it's definitely God for me. I really want to help people with that, but food and food and finances. Like it's two topics that I feel in my life, I'm like, we bring up, but then we're like, oh yeah, we kind of tell people what we want to hear or they want to hear. We don't be honest and say, hey, actually, I overate last night because I was upset. Or actually, I went and spent all this money. Or actually, I'm scared of spending money. Like we're not being honest, so therefore nothing's changing. And in my experience, when you're honest about something, honest about how you think and act towards it, that is the first step. Then you can actually create change. But if you're going to just lie to yourself and lie to others, you're just going to keep living this life in this reality that you don't want to live. And I was done with that. And being an entrepreneur, I'm like, this needs to work because I'm passionate about it. I want to just be able at that point, just to kind of pay my basic expenses, and eat and enjoy things every now and then. And I just started to realize one of the first things, two of the first pillars. So there's 5 pillars, I believe, of financial health in these areas. And one is, what is money? What do you think money? What do you define it as? Mindset. What is your money mindset? Money management. How do you manage your money? And then multiplication. How do you multiply your money? How do you invest it and see multiple returns? And mastery. Mastery to me is just the idea of you're mastering all of those concepts. And when you've gotten to that point where you've mastered those few things, it's like then you go back, kind of like a circle. And so I was forced to really say, what do I actually believe about money? How do I see money? What do I define it as? And there was a lot of different resources that I started to go to. One was called The Trance of Scarcity by Victoria Castle. And it's a book that I had come across while doing my health coaching program, my holistic health coaching program, actually. And I just remember reading some of it, and she just really laying out the fact that we live in a state of not enough. Whether we feel like we're not enough, whether we feel like we'll never have enough, we'll never do enough, it's always this resounding thing of not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. And so even when you reach a significant goal, you're like, hey, but it's not enough. I need to go to the next one. And I'm finally in the stage of my business is that I've reached a lot of goals. And I'm like, financially even, I'm like, this is kind of comfortable, right? But then I'm asking myself, well, what is the role? Like, what if I wanted more? Is that okay? And what would I use it for? Or two, is it actually enough? Should I be doing more? Is it okay to have reached my goal and be kind of content? And so you're wrestling with all these thoughts of like 1 minute, like to want more is not bad. But at the same time, if you're wanting more is coming from a place of scarcity, then it is, right? So the trance of scarcity just really meant the idea that a trance is like a semi-conscious state where you don't realize you're in it. And scarcity, this feeling of not enough. And we are constantly living this. And what would it be like to rewrite our story? And that concept came to me, and I just was like, rewrite my story. Like I have the power to rewrite my story. I have the power to say, actually, just like I did with food, actually, money, you have no hold on me. You're not in control. There's always enough money to go around. I have enough. I'm blessed with enough. And if I want more, that's fine. Right? But that took months, and I'm still in that place of really being okay with that. So that book kind of kickstarted things, and I said, okay, I can either choose to be ignorant and naive in regards to this topic, or I could dive right in. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm diving right in. And I dove right in, and stuff came up. Like, as a Christian, to have lots of wealth, is that okay? Because in the Bible, it says the love of money is the root of all evil. So if I were to say, hey to you, I love money, am I evil? Like these different questions, I'm going to just put them out there. Like we have to ask ourselves these questions, because even, especially with the Christian faith, where we're like, read the Bible and like, this is what it is. We never go deeper. And for me, the shift in really worshiping Jesus as Lord and saying, hey, you can have everything. You can have all my life. You can have my money. All these things became when I started to question. And started to dive deeper. And so I really, I sought out Vanessa Ferreira, which I met her online. She is a biblical wealth mentor. And you're going to hear from her later on in this show. Since this month in particular, I'm focusing on financial health. I'm starting off, and then I'm lining up a couple other women to talk about it. Mindset, money, multiplication, probably the three we'll really focus on. And I just was like, what? Like, just took a little course from her around like, what does the Bible say about wealth? And if you really look, the Bible says a lot about wealth. And it does not just say that wealth is bad. And it does not say rich people don't go to heaven, right? It says it's harder to, because when you have a lot of material wealth, it's very easy to worship that. But even as someone who is a Christian, who is like, I just want to give everything to God, I don't need anything. Like you could worship that quote unquote simplicity. What if God wanted to bless you with more so you could do more? What are you going to do then? Right? And so I'm not trying to bash anyone, and I'm not trying to say nothing's better than the other. I'm just trying to get you to think. Like stop believing things and investigate in your whole life, but especially in this area. So that was one of the books was Trance of Scarcity. And then I also talked to a biblical wealth mentor. I started to read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that really just talked about if you want to get success monetarily and in life, you need to desire it at the core, but you need to desire it really bad. You need to visualize it. You need to go after it. And so I was like, I'm going after this. I spent a lot of time visualizing, spending a lot of time planning, and each day intentionally, like, what am I going to go towards? Another one was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he has a lot of other books, but that was the main one. And it's funny because as I was reading this one, I would post on Instagram, and I would read it outside at Cayman Bay, and different people just had read it. Obviously, it's been around many years, but it's amazing the resounding thing. Oh, that's a great book. And what the book is about financial education, and just the fact that in school we're taught how to do well, get good grades, follow the steps to succeed, but we're not taught how to manage our finances personally. And that doesn't set us up well, because the idiot book even points out that, you could become one of the richest people in the world, doctors, accountants, lawyers, all these things, and actually be financially illiterate or broke because you just don't know how. And it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's just sometimes some people are lucky to get taught this. Some people are lucky enough to realize this and pursue it at an early age. Sometimes we're not. And so the idea is once we're aware, we make changes, right? So that was a really great book. Another one that I was like, a little bit of the title, I was like, I don't want to, but I'm like, we'll get over it, Brianna. You can read things and take it in as it is. And that one was like, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And she wrote another book before that. But this one, and I loved it. Oh man, I loved it because she's just honest. Just honest how we easily judge people who have a lot. And then the very second we judge people who don't have. Really just the fact that defining money, what is money? And really, as one of the pillars of health, money is just a value that we have placed on it. It's actually a piece of paper or coins, or it doesn't have any living thing. We've just placed it on it. But we all have certain charges with that money. We all attach certain feelings, certain dreams, certain things to money. And it's really the first thing after reading all those books is realizing when it came to money that I can choose how I define money. I can choose how I value money, and I can choose the role money plays in my life. And that's the thing for you. You can choose as well. Went on to read a couple other books. Profit First, life-changing book. Okay, so it's for entrepreneurs, but also for people in your personal life. The idea is pay yourself first. We pay everyone else. We pay our phone bill, we pay our light bill, we pay we pay everyone else, but we don't pay ourselves first. And it's a beautiful concept, and we're going to dive deep into that. And I have someone lined up to come talk about that. And I'm going to be putting out some master classes and workshops around that too. So stay tuned for that. And then reading The Richest Man in Babylon. And one of the key concepts from that is just talking about this affirmation that a part of all I earn is mine to keep. And that's kind of the pay yourself first concept as well, profit first. And just repeating that. Do we truly believe that? Because if we don't, we're not going to actually reach our financial goals that we desire. And then one I started reading yesterday that I've been wanting to read for a while, but finally, I actually got a Kindle because I was fighting a Kindle for a long time because I love holding a book. I love highlighting. I just love the hands-on portion. I was like, but Brianna, the way you're reading, because I'm actually reading more in this stage of my life, you're going to have to wait forever to get these books because you're going to have to wait till you go away and just get it. And so I got Money, a Love Story by Kate Northrup. Mm-hmm. Oh man, already. I'm like, thank you, Lord. It's just so many things. I think it's good that I'm reading this now because all the stuff that I read and prepared me for this, but just the idea. And I love this because goes back to that first pillar that what we are actually searching for in money is not the money itself. It's typically the value, the feeling, or the result that's attached to the money, right? So the value, the feeling, the result. we put, again, that value on that money. And so if you don't understand that, then you're not going to be able to move forward. Because once you understand what you think about money, how you feel about it, then, okay, I can either choose to say that this thought is serving me or this thought isn't. And I can redefine how I view money, rewrite that story. And so that's kind of the first thing, is like, what do you actually think about money? All those books really helped me get there. And I'm still on this phase, right? It's not like I've arrived. It's a journey. It's a story. And the second one is money mindset. And this is key. Listen, and I love that she pointed this out in her book, Love Story, because this is something that I talk about with people. You cannot just go and get a book on managing your finances if you feel like you have a horrible relationship with money or in debt, all these things, because guess what? Really, it's not the management that's the issue. It's your beliefs, which then dictate your thoughts, which then dictate your words. So that money mindset, that will dictate how you manage money. And that's in life, right? I talk about this all the time, even with my health coaching clients, life coaching clients, that our thoughts, our beliefs, our attitudes, and dictate our thoughts, which then dictates our reactions, then dictates our reality, right? So to change the habits and the reality won't really accomplish the long-term change we want. We need to change our beliefs, our attitudes, and thoughts. And that is a deeper work. And so I typically want to work with people who want that deeper work, because I've tried the diets, and the same thing with food. I've tried I'm just going to change my, do this 30-day diet. But I have not changed my mindset or habits or thoughts, right? And so what then happens is that there's nothing sustainable change. And so that's why when I started to look at my mindset, my thoughts, my beliefs on food, on health, things shifted. And the same thing goes for money. And so I actually put together a masterclass on all of these things. And so you're welcome to purchase that as well. It's available to watch audio, and it comes with some worksheets and resources and videos. But so mindset, and one thing to do is, I talk a lot about how you can get to the root of your mindset, asking yourself questions like, what do I feel about money? What would it feel like to make $1 million or whatever? And do I feel resistance to that? Do I want that, and why? Do I feel like there's never enough? When was one time that I really was the first time I really encountered money and had a first really remembering with it? Do I feel like money's abundant and it's always around? So really, I have some worksheets with this masterclass to help you dive deep into that. So that's where you need to start. And then there's something called affirmations, where you're affirming truths. You're rewriting a thought, creating a positive truth, and affirming it through an affirmation. And then the third thing is money management. And so obviously I learned a lot about that in accounting, but I just never really fully dealt with what I thought about money or mindset to go to the part where management felt good and felt easy, because there's so many little things you can do. You could use an app. You can use a spreadsheet. How much should I budget for this? Is this too much? Is this too little? It can get confusing. And so one thing I did in this masterclass, especially when I did it live, was just told the ladies, let's make it super simple. Let's just track our expenses first. Let's analyze it. And then we can make some changes. And then we can start allocating certain percentages or whatever. And so that is a whole worksheet that I've done in the masterclass as well. And then, so there's money, there's mindset, there's management, and there's multiplication. And this is an area that I am getting into. Okay, I have not arrived. I'm still working on all of these, and I think you can work on all of these at one time. But when it comes to multiplication, and there are a lot of people who say investments, like on the stock market and stuff, or just in general, real estate, and network marketing companies are a part of those, and just different things that you could do to multiply your money, reoccurring residual income, all these different things. And some of the ways that I've been working on that is I do doTERRA essential oils, and it's quote unquote a network marketing company. And I could care less that it's a network marketing company, in the sense that I didn't know that what it was when I started, and it's not about that to me. It's not about that at all. It's about how can I continue to educate, empower people on how to use these natural oils so that, one, their financial, mental, emotional well-being could be well, and two, physical, and then financially, like if some people want to share about the oils and get their oils for free or make even more of an impact and do this full time, I want to support them. And so it's a way that I could actually do the coaching thing, but from a different point of view. But with that, I can create residual income. You can create residual income, right? So that's one way that I would say multiplying. How do you multiply your investment in some way? Some people do stuff like membership communities, which I have too, in regards to people are paying a recurring fee and your investment is kind of still the same, but a little bit different, and you're investing your time and your resources. And then, there's so many ways to multiply your money, and so many tactics and stuff like that, personally and business wise. So it's definitely an area to look into. And then the fifth thing was mastery. And mastery is such an interesting word, because you don't ever truly master it, but I think you come to a point where you feel comfortable. And so when you're in that stage, it's like, what's the next level? Is it going back to my mindset? Maybe I need to up level. That's a typical word you hear in the entrepreneur world, my thoughts. So I'll give you a quick thing in regards to my business and how I may be in this mastery stage. So I probably reached a just stage of my business that I feel good with, but it's a different stage. And I've hustled a lot to get here. And I think when you start a business, you have to hustle. You have to just put in a lot of time. But now it's a different thing. It's like, I don't need to be in all these different places trying to share about my business. Like, I actually need to go deeper into the places where I'm planted. But that's different, because you're so used to the hustle that it's like, okay, well, now how do I get into this multiplying stage? How do I get into this mastery stage and go deeper, right? So that even in regards to my financial health, the places I'm planted could kind of grow more, right? And so all that to say, those 5 pillars are definitely something that I think we should look into, that I'm going to try to go deeper in on the podcast itself, as well as in the different master classes I'm doing, and a couple things coming up. So I'll just share that with you. So locally at the Art Nest Creative Studio, I, in October, did Beautiful Money, Restoring Your Relationship, Part 1. And that masterclass, it was in person, but now I've made it available online so you can purchase it. In November as well, I'm going to be doing 4 different things around money. On the podcast, each week there will be an episode around money and financial health. 2, I'm doing a Facing Your Finances free challenge with Allie Davis, business mindset coach. We're both Christians, so we're going to talk about it open to everyone, but there will be times where we will kind of talk about it even from a biblical point of view, because we think the church needs that. And then her and I are going to do a master class to go deeper into those topics we addressed, a live master class. And then at the Art Nest, I'm going into something in particular. It's a book called Discover Your Money Types. It's based on 7 characters in the Bible, people in the Bible, and just what their money types are, the good and the shadow side to it. So I'm going to have a workshop just around that. And then that will also be available online. Probably a couple weeks after, in November. Then, so really you could access the Beautiful Money, Restoring Your Relationship Part 1 Masterclass now online. You can join up for the Money Types 1 in person, or if you're interested in the online portion as well, let me know and I'll let you know when it's available. You could join the Facing Your Finances Challenge, and you can join the masterclass with Allie and I, she's specifically a business and mindset coach as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to get help with your financial health this month. So let this be the season where, instead of when you see money, you have all these emotions you don't want to feel and you're just ignoring it. Let this be the season where we can come together and say, money is beautiful. It's a catalyst for good. And I want to explore how I can restore my relationship with this. All right. So that's it from me. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Be Healthy and Thrive podcast. Be sure to check out the links for everything I mentioned as well as if you just want to be updated when the next episodes come, sign up for the link to be added to my mailing list, so you'll know everything that I'm doing, whether it's Be Healthy, like whether it's the podcast, whether it's essential oils and so forth, right? So thanks so much. And I look forward to really getting in contact with you. If you're a woman and you want support, you can join my free group, Healthy and Thriving Women. If you want some more in-depth support with some coaching and accountability, you can join the members club. If enrollment is closed when you see this, just let me know. I'll let you know when enrollment's open for the private club. All right. Have a good one.